Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing the new Norvina Volume 4 palette, this beauty right over here. The moment I saw this palette, I had to have it. This is not my first Norvina palette, but it is the first one I buy, and I was so interested in this one because I love these colors. It reminded me a lot of her original Norvina palette that she created with Anastasia, and so besides swatching and doing looks with this one, we will be comparing the two. If you guys like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up before you leave. If you're new to my channel, my name is Patty, and I would love it if you subscribe before you leave. I do tons of looks with palettes, product reviews, and all things beauty and makeup related in this channel. So if that's the type of content you like to watch on YouTube, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button and hit the notification bell if you want to get notified every time I upload. I don't have a set schedule, but I do upload quite often. Okay, so with all of that said, let's go ahead and get started. As you can see, I did two looks with this beauty right here, and we will get into both tutorials later on in the video. First, I want to tell you a little bit about the palette. So this palette retails for $60. The Norvina line from Anastasia, I believe, is exclusive to Sephora, and this is the fourth palette that comes out in the Norvina line. I'm on the Sephora website, and it says it is a professional grade artistry palette that features high performance eyeshadows and pigments with a spring inspired color story, which, I mean, it is beautiful, right? The palette is vegan and cruelty free, and it says it's limited edition, so if you guys want it, make sure you snatch it soon because it might sell out. The palette contains 7 eyeshadows, 2 pressed glitters, and 16 pressed pigments. So it is mainly pressed pigments in this palette. I believe her previous palettes are also mainly pressed pigments. The other Norvina palette I have is this one here, which is the Norvina Volume 1. This was the last palette I got in gratis when I worked at Sephora, and I love it. I've never made a video with it, I don't think, because I filmed one once and I don't remember why, but I never uploaded it. So I don't think you guys have ever seen this palette on my channel, but I have used it a couple of times and I do like it. However, when I saw this palette here announced, I knew I had to have it. This is definitely the type of palette I love. I love this color story. I love the soft neutrals and the pinks and the purples, and even this green right here. I really like it. I'm going to go ahead and swatch the palette for you, and after I swatch it, I want to also compare it to the original Norvina palette that she created with Anastasia a few years ago, because I think some of the colors look the same. I was trying to see if there were any shades in these palettes that looked alike, but I can't find any shades that are remotely similar, so I'm not going to be swatching anything from this palette side by side. However, from her original Norvina palette, I do see some colors that are pretty similar, so I'm going to swatch them so you guys can make a choice on whether you want to get her new one or go for the original. Let me start swatching. Okay, so here is the first row, A through 5 swatched. Really beautiful creamy swatches. I love them. This silver here is really beautiful. Okay, and then these are rows B and C. So B1, 2, 3, 4, 5, C1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right over here, the one color in these two rows that I think has to be built up quite a bit for it to show up the same as in the pan is this purple right here, which is C4. It is such a beautiful color though that I don't even mind that you have to build it up a little bit, and I was very impressed by B4 right up here as well. I really love that shimmery shade. Okay, and lastly we have rows D and E, so D1 through 5, E1 through 5 right over here. The bottom row is the row that has the pressed glitters, and I am obsessed with both of those colors. And E5 right here, it is the most vibrant pink ever. So every shade so far has been very pigmented. I haven't noticed a lot of patchiness. The only one that wasn't as pigmented was that C4 purpley shade, but other than that, everything has amazing pigment. When I first posted on my community page that I was going to be reviewing this palette, one of you asked me to swatch all the pinks in the palette side by side just to kind of see the differences. So this is for you, girl. Here are all 4 pinks swatched. I'm going to put my hand back here because when I put it up close you can see the difference a little less. So this is C2 next to C5 next to E1, and the one down here is E5. So these are all the like pinkier vibrant shades in the palette, and they do have a slight difference between all of them. Compared to the first one, this one has more red, this one has more peach, and the one at the bottom is a lot more intense. So then I'm going to go into this original Norvina palette and we'll compare some of these shades to the shades in the new one. So we're going to start with Dreamer right over here. I'm going to put Dreamer right here in the palm of my hand, which is such a beautiful champagne color. And there's 3 colors in the new Norvina palette that can look similar. First, here I have A5, I have D3, and then I have B1 as well. Alright, here we go. You can see how similar these shades are. I would say, looking at them in person, the one that is most similar to Dreamer is D3 right over here. These two are almost exactly the same. The 3 in the Norvina palette do have differences between them. This one here has a pink shift to it. This one has more of like a bronzy undertone, and this one is a little bit more on the sheer side. The next one from the Anastasia palette is the color Summer right here and the color Dazzling. So these are Summer and Dazzling, and the one that's most similar would be B4, but really they are all different shades, so there's not a dupe for the color Summer in this one. Then we have the color Wild Child right here, and that is the first one I swatch here. I have the colors D4 and C1 next to them, and they are not that similar. C1 right over here is the one that looks the most like it, but Wild Child is a lot more pink. Maybe if you combine the two, they would be a little closer. I don't see any colors that look like rose gold in the new palette. I don't see any colors that look like Celestial, but I'm going to just show you the ones that are, you know, kind of close, I guess. This one here is Celestial, and then we have C3, which is a bit more iridescent, a bit lighter. It has a bit more blue to it. I guess they're closer than I thought they would be, which is why I wanted to swatch them, but again, not the exact same color. Both beautiful shades though. I believe I already did Dazzling and B4 earlier, but this is what they look like next to one another. Slightly different. I think the color B4 has a pink shift to it, which Dazzling doesn't have. Again, both are beautiful, beautiful shades, but not an exact dupe for Dazzling, even though they look very similar. Alright, so then the last shimmer from the original Norvina palette is the color Drama, and there is nothing like the color Drama in the new one. Then we have the matte row right underneath it, and base is a really beautiful, nice base color that the original Norvina palette has. Sol right here is kind of similar to the color C4, but as you can see right here, they are not the same at all. C4 from the new Norvina palette has the best freaking color. It's such a like a pastel type of purple. I love it. Sol is also a beautiful shade, but it has a lot more gray to it. I think overall so far most of the colors are different enough for me to justify buying the new one. Back to the video, we have the color Incense right here, and I think there are shades in the in this palette that are kind of similar. I believe maybe B3 or D1. No, again, these are surprisingly different enough. The first taupey shade right here is Incense, and then we have B3 and D1. Volatile looks pretty similar to B5, so this one's Volatile right here, and you have B5 in the new one. These are very, very close. Then I have Eccentric right here, swatched next to D5 and B3. Again, these are different enough. And then the color Passion right here, I think it's kind of similar to E4, but not similar enough. These are done swatched next to one another, and the one at the bottom with the more purpley undertones is E4. Okay, the swatch party is officially over, and if I had to pick between the two palettes, I would definitely pick the new Norvina one, because this one has a lot of shades similar to the original Norvina, and then some. It has a lot more to choose for because it is a much bigger palette. I just realized I had a mirror in that corner this whole freaking video and nobody told me. Shame on you guys. Just shame on you. Anyway, so now that we're done swatching and comparing, let's go ahead and get into the looks. Alright, to get started with the first look, I'm going to do a little bit of the Anastasia primer all over my eyelid and halfway across like the crease area. I have a bit of concealer underneath my brow, so we don't need to put it all the way up there. And I'm applying it with a concealer brush. I'm going to start by trying the color A4 as a transition shade. I'm first going to kind of like pat it in place, and then I'm going to blend the edge of it a little bit. And I'm using a Sigma E25 brush. I added a bit more of that same color, and again I'm just blending it on the crease of the eye back and forth, and always leave a little bit of space right underneath that brow. The second color I'll be using is the color C4, and once again I'm going to be using that same E25 brush from Sigma. I'm going to start by tapping E4 on the outer corner of the eye and then start blending it into A4, which was the crease color we used. A little bit more of C4 on that outer corner and blend it into the crease. It wasn't giving me the intensity I wanted, so I am going back and just tapping the color and pressing it on the outer corner, and now it's looking a lot more intense and more like what I wanted it to look like. So I think pressing works a little bit better with this one because I wanted it to show up the way it looks in the pan, because it's such a beautiful purpley shade. And it does blend out really easily, so even though I'm packing it on and like going back and reapplying a bunch of times on the outer corner, once you just hit it with a little bit of blend on the crease area, it blends out really nicely. For the eyelid, I was tempted to use A2, but instead I'm going to use A5 for a little bit of dimension. And I'm using a number 13 brush from Sephora collection, which is just like a flat brush. And I am pressing it on that eyelid. I'm going to try and apply a bit with my finger because I think it's going to transfer a lot better. And for a bit of a transition between the two, I'm going to use C3 right here. And I'm just going to tap it right here in between the two colors. I'm cleaning the fallout from underneath my eyes with a little bit of micellar water and a microfiber towel. And this is what the top of the eye is looking like. I wanted to not make it too dark and do a little bit more of an ethereal look. I'm going to do my face makeup and I'll be right back to finish it up. I'm back with some makeup on, and I'm going to do C4 with a small fluffy brush right under my lower lashes. The brush I'm using is a Morphe M506, which is my favorite brush to use to blend things under my eyes. This color kind of blends away pretty fast, so again I'm just going to try and build it the way I did on top by pressing the color on. And I'm going to do a teeny tiny bit of A4 right underneath it so that it matches the top of the eye. I want it to look a little bit more pigmented underneath my eye, a little bit darker, so I'm going to use a purple eyeliner. This one here is from Fenty in the color Perpetrator, and I'm going to do it on my waterline. Now that I have it there, I'm going to run a pencil brush back and forth through my lower waterline to smoke that eyeliner out a little bit. I'm using an E36 from Morphe. And I have to do this with my eyes closed because I have very sensitive eyes. Alright, so you can see that it's like a little bit more smoked out. You can see the line in the waterline, and then the purple underneath my eyes looks just slightly more intense. I like this better. We are only missing the inner corner. With the small end of my fender blender, I'm going to use E2 on the inner corner. I'm just going to pat it in there. It's like a really pretty iridescent glittery shade. Nice and shiny. Okay, back with the fender blender, I'm just going to bring it in a little bit. There we go. Let me do mascara and lashes and I'll be right back. Okay, here's how things are looking like with just mascara on. Let me be back with some lashes. Okay, I am back with the lashes, and this is the final first look with the new Norvina palette. I really love that purple, even though it did take a little bit of building. I think it blended out really nicely, and I love the color of it and how intense it is. The shimmers are good. Just keep in mind you have to use your finger for some of these because I don't think the brushes play well with them. However, that's not something that I mind a lot, and I feel like with a lot of palettes that have very like glittery shades, you kind of have to do that. But so far so good. This is the first look. Okay, we're going to use different colors on this eye because I want to really gauge how the palette performs. So I'm going to use a big fluffy brush and the color B2 on the crease of my eye. My eyelid is primed with the ABH eyeshadow primer, and I'm going to use the color B2 back and forth on the crease area as a transition shade. It's actually a bit darker than I expected it to be. I expected it to be a little lighter than this, but it's really blending out very nicely, so it's not going to be a problem that it's a bit darker than I expected. So big fluffy brush and just blend back and forth on that crease area, leaving a little bit of space underneath the brow with the color B2. With the E25 brush from Sigma, which is a pinch blending brush, and the color E4, I'm going to tap that color right here on the outer corner. I believe this color is the darkest color on the palette, by the way. So I don't think you'll get a look much darker than this, but I really love looks that have fun colors in them that aren't necessarily super dark. So I'm here for it. A little bit more E4, and we're going to start blending it right here into the crease, just back and forth with that E25 brush from Sigma. I think I want to do a bit of a halo eye, so I'm going to do E4 on the inner part of the eye as well, blend it into the crease. And I am dying to try this glitter, so I have E3 right here on my Fender blender from Huda, and I'm going to press it into the center of the eyelid. Just pat it right there in the center. And if you got any fallout, go ahead and clean it. I'm also going to clean this edge right here because I was very careless with my blending. I just wanted things diffused. I didn't really care to go a little bit past the outer corner of my eye. So I'm going to leave this eye like this. I'm going to do my face makeup and I'll be right back. I'm back for the second look, and I have B2 on my Morphe M506 brush, and I'm going to blend it underneath my lower lash line back and forth. Make it meet with the outer corner of the eye back here. And because it's such a pigmented color, I'm going to really blend out any edges. With my small E36, I'm just going to run that through right under my lower lash line to deepen things up a little bit. And with this burgundy eyeliner, I went ahead and lined my waterline. This one is from L'Oreal. I bought it at Ulta. I'm going to, of course, link everything mentioned in the video in the description box down below. With the tip of my finger, I'm tapping the color A2 right here in the inner corner of my eye. It's a really beautiful purpley, pinky, iridescent type of color. I really like it. I'm going to do mascara and lashes, and I'll be right back. This is the second look with just mascara on. Let me do some lashes and I'll be right back. I know you guys sometimes like to see them with mascara, and that's why I'm showing you in the middle. Okay, I am back with the second look. I really love that glitter in the center of my eye. I love how these colors blended out so nicely. They were nice and pigmented right away. The inner corner shade is so freaking beautiful. I absolutely love it. And this is just such a fun nighttime glittery look. I cannot get enough of it. So pretty. I am back. It was an absolute delight doing both of the looks that I did today. Every shade worked amazingly, including C4 right here, because even though we had to build it up, it ended up showing up beautifully. You guys can see it on. I've had it on for like 2 hours now, and it's still there. It still looks nice and vibrant. So I literally have absolutely no complaints about this palette. I can't wait to continue playing with it. If you guys want to see a 5 looks 1 palette with this one, so that I can go through every single shade in here and do 5 other looks for you guys, make sure to let me know in the comment section down below that you want to see more looks with this one, and I will go ahead and create that video for you. But first impressions, I absolutely love it. I think this is so worth it. This is definitely my favorite palette that Norvina has come out with. My second favorite is definitely the Norvina Volume 1 because it has the warms and the purples, but the new one is definitely miles ahead of it. These are totally my type of shades, and it has the same vibes as the original Norvina palette with Anastasia, but more and better. So I definitely had an absolute blast reviewing this palette today. I can't wait to continue to use it and create more looks with it. If you guys liked this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to stay tuned for more. And if you want to see a 5 looks 1 palette with it, let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you back in the next one. Bye! I didn't even mention the packaging, but look at how pretty this is. Right? I I'm obsessed with this shade of pink.